If you didn't already know, I'm a fan of the idea of college for all. I think that every American needs to be provided the opportunity to further their education beyond high school, as a high school education just doesn't qualify someone for most modern careers. However, when presented with this idea, many folks have concerns. So today, I want to talk to you about 3 concerns I've heard when people are presented with the idea of college for all. Welcome to 10 Minutes for Democracy. Do you think every American should be given the opportunity to further their education after high school without having to work or go into debt? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Also, please consider subscribing, and clicking the notification bell. I think the first issue is best summed up with these 2 statements. College isn't for everybody, and not every job requires college. Those are both true statements. College isn't for everybody, but my response is neither is high school. But we as a society think it is important that everybody have the opportunity to receive the education high school provides. The second statement goes to a straw man about the idea of college for all that I'd like to cast aside now. College for all doesn't mean 4-year college or university degree for all. Or rather, it doesn't just mean those. It includes providing other options like 2-year schools, vocational schools, even certain types of direct job trainings and apprenticeships. The basic premise is that we are not equipping our young with the knowledge they need to start a career in almost anything besides low-skill, minimum-wage labor. Unlike high school, the next level of education wouldn't be considered mandatory. Young people would have a big decision to make about what career they wanted to invest the next 1 to 4 years pursuing. That career path may not include a 4-year degree, but rather an alternative type of training process. I imagine, though, that a lot of young people would take the opportunity to attend college if they weren't sure what they wanted to do next. I know I spent several years in college taking classes in different disciplines, trying to find the right one. But I had to take out loans, ask for money from my family, and even work to buy myself that opportunity. I'd like for us, as a society, to give every member of the next generation of Americans that chance without those burdens, and I think our society would be better for it. That brings us to the next issue, the idea that lots of degrees are worthless for actually getting jobs. Now, I think that's true to an extent, but first I'd like to point out that every degree could theoretically be used to get you a job teaching that discipline to other people. But even if you might consider degrees for English or art history a waste, how many people do you know that wasted away their high school years not going to classes, not learning anything? That's certainly a bigger waste and not a valid argument to get rid of universal high school. It's the folly of the young to take what is given for granted. But I think that if people bothered to go to free college, they would actually take it more seriously on average than high school. Unlike high school, you get to take whatever classes you want. I mean, that's kind of the idea, to find yourself. Otherwise, why bother going? Some people might go to shine on their parents that they're learning or just to be social, but they wouldn't have to actually enroll to do that. They could just, go hang out with people as adults. College for all doesn't include room and board, at least in my mind, just like high school doesn't. Though I imagine there would be programs, for low-cost versions of both. Another point, keep in mind that some grad schools require undergraduate degrees, but it doesn't really matter what they're in. So a degree in English might have more value than you would think. Also, keep in mind that some people that get degrees that are mostly quote-unquote useless to get jobs with don't always need to find a job when they graduate, or the job they want in a creative field where all that matters is the work that you produce. The degree is purely for the accumulation of knowledge rather than qualifying for a job, which I think has value as well. The point of college for all is to provide an on-ramp to whatever career you want to have without burying you under a pile of debt. Offering education to all means that some will waste it. That's true at all levels, and even when the student is paying for it. Speaking of waste, that brings us to the last problem we're discussing today. Overexpensive, fancy schmancy schools. How can we afford to pay the ridiculous tuitions many quote-unquote elite colleges and universities charge? When I first started contemplating college for all, this was my biggest stumbling block because those tuitions are unreasonable. They're tethered to market supply and demand rather than the cost to do business. I think that where I went to school, tuition has doubled in the last 20 years. That's just insane and way beyond any concept of inflation. College for all would require a lot of study into the real cost of running a four-year college. But the good news is we have plenty of public data as a society to dive into and sort that out. We've got state schools, 2-year and 4-year, whose books are owned by we the people. So to address this problem, we first need to figure out a reasonable number for tuition. I guarantee you it's far lower than what is charged, probably even by state schools to out-of-staters. And once we have that number, that becomes the cap for all tuition grants the federal government will be providing under the College for All system to 4-year schools, 2-year schools, or any other recognized training program. Thanks for watching. There are certainly other issues and concerns regarding College for All. It would be complicated to implement. If you'd like me to discuss a particular issue or concern that I didn't address here, leave a comment and I'll make a follow-up video. If you like this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and clicking the notification bell. Click on the slide below to continue watching 10 Minutes for Democracy.